What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing great today, because I know I am, and if you're not doing great, hopefully this video will make you feel great, because I'm going to be sharing my positive energy with you right now, because I am visiting St. Louis, Missouri for my first ever time. St. Louis has been a city I have been super excited to visit for a very, very long time. Just because it's really cool. I'm dying to see the Gateway Arch and go up to it, which we're going to be doing today. And St. Louis is considered the gateway to the West. Like, once you cross the Mississippi River into St. Louis, you've officially been in the West. So I'm looking forward to say I've done that. So we're just going to go there today, explore the city, and see what it's all about. Get some barbecue, hopefully. And there it is, St. Louis, Missouri. You got the skyline and the Gateway Arch. How cool is that? So right now we're still in Illinois, but once we cross over the Mississippi right here, we are going to be in Missouri. So that'll be really cool once we get over this river. Welcome to Missouri. Alright guys, we're officially in Missouri and in St. Louis. Look at that Gateway Arch. That is super cool. Never seen anything like that before. Guys, that thing is so trippy from like this angle from the bottom. It's insane. So we're at Gateway Arch National Park right now. How trippy is that? So just being at the bottom of this thing is actually insane. Like in person, it makes your balls drop, dude. And then over here you have the rest of the city, St. Louis. And then over here is the Mississippi River with the state of Illinois across the way. So here we are inside the Gateway Arch. And we are going to head up to the very top of the Gateway Arch to the observation deck, 500 feet over St. Louis. But the problem is that I am 6'4" and my dad is like 6'1". We're both very tall people. And let me show you the size of the elevator we need to take to the top. So these are the things we got to take to the top. Look at how small that is. So sitting in that thing alone is a lot for me. But you know, there's 5 seats in there and they're gonna fill it up with 5 people. And it's just gonna be like insanely claustrophobic. Additionally, it's 6 minutes up to the top. So that's gonna be one hell of a ride to the top, guys. Not loving it, but red church roof, flat roof, you mean? Yeah, flat roof. Alright guys, so we went to the top of the Gateway Arch, and that was genuinely the sketchiest thing I've ever done in my life. I showed you guys the elevators that you take to the top, and it's about a 4-minute ride up and down, and throughout the entire way you hear crinking and clacking, and the thing is tilting and going one way and going the other way and shaking. So imagine being in this tiny little space that I showed you, going all the way up there as the thing's shaking and rattling and going back and forth, making weird noises. Dude. And then you looked outside and you saw all the stairs and like the gears working. It was so sketchy, but the views were awesome. You saw all the way out into rural Missouri. You saw the skyline of St. Louis. You saw the Mississippi River and the state of Illinois across the way. All right, so right here we have the old courthouse in downtown. And this courthouse is very significant because it is where the Dred v. Scott case happened. So Dred v. Scott, for those of you who don't know, was a Supreme Court case that ruled that African Americans were not equal to the rest of us, and it deemed that they were, you know, basically unequal, and it did not grant them citizenship. So it denied citizenship to blacks, and it declared the Missouri Compromise unconstitutional. So it's a very historical building right there for very infamous reasons. So basically that building denied Congress the right to prohibit slavery. So it caused a lot of bullshit, that building. So yeah, the courthouse said that Congress cannot prohibit slavery because they were property protected to owners under the Fifth Amendment. So that courthouse contributed to the greater divide between the North and the South. You know, it created a lot of debates. It created a lot of, you know, division and tension. It contributed to a lot of the, you know, racial problems we used to have and the problems we do have, and it, you know, contributed to the Civil War. So it's a very historical building, probably one of the most historical courthouses in the United States, and I love that kind of stuff, so I'm happy I got to see it for sure. But I cannot tell you guys how hot it is in St. Louis right now. I'm sweating, I mean, my face is wet. But St. Louis was great. I had an awesome time here. It was really cool to see everything that I always wanted to see. And we're headed back to the car now. All right, guys, well, I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my adventure here in St. Louis. It's, as I said, a city that I've been wanting to see forever. You know, I saw the Gateway Arch, went to the top of it, saw the old courthouse, and I officially can say I've made it to the west since I passed the gateway to the west. I really, again, appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And I just figured I'd put it out there that I am on like a huge week-long road trip right now through the Midwest, and I'm making tons of other videos along this journey. So if you would like, you could check out my channel for those adventures as well. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.